And we are live. Episode number, I don't know anymore. I've lost count. But I do have a very special guest tonight on the Touring Fan Live. I am extremely excited about this. This is the first time we've ever actually talked besides some messaging back and forth. But I am glad, and I'm going to butcher the last name because if you've watched the show before, I have the education of a fourth grader when it comes to saying words or spelling them right. But Carrie Akre,
It's Akre.
Akre. See, listen, I feel as
Hey,
though if I say it right, I'm doing no justice to me continuing the traits of me consistently butchering every single one of my guests' last name right. It only wasn't until I interviewed Eric Lillevoix about 13 times on the show that I was able to get that right.
I could see why though. But my name's always been like that. So I always say I answer to everything except for bad names.
Well, my whole life with my last name being Krzyzewicz or
Yeah.
as Polish Krajewicz, everyone's like, well, how long did it take you to say that? How long did it take you to spell it? You know, I don't know. I think I still spell it and say it wrong. I mean, and I'm 36 years old. So, but
It's
enough.
your own name.
Yeah, it's bad. It's bad. I mean, I literally, if you look at my last name, I mean, it is. Can I buy a vowel? I mean, if you're on Jeopardy, it's that. It's kind of that. It's nuts. But could you imagine being in kindergarten, right? And you
Oh
got
yeah.
John Smith, you got Sarah, I don't know, Wilson. You got all these like very
Uh-huh.
traditional, simple. I mean, Carrie, you have 4 letters in your last name. I literally think
Yeah.
I might be missing 3 letters from the alphabet in my entire name.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I can imagine. I
So,
can imagine what that feels like as a kid.
but enough about me.
All right.
Let's bring it to the reason we're here this evening, and that's about you, Carrie. And it's interesting, having you come on the show and this consistent, Seattle music and bringing it naturally back to how everybody works together. But before we get into that, I really want to know when you look back at music in general and how you got into music, where did it all start for you that you fell in love with music?
Well, for me, I think I loved music and listening to music from way back. Just I think my first record, and this is going to really age me, I guess. My first record was Andy Gibb, you know, but I think I was five, something like that, So I started getting records way back and just have always been a music listener. And then as I, got more into singing, say in school, which was primarily where I started singing, I would be singing along to records, but I've always loved listening to like a huge variety of music. High school, I think I was more of a new wave baby. But it started there. Like singing along might have been my first, close encounter or, doing choir and things like that, like performing, singing. But it wasn't until I got to Seattle and had been there a few years where there was quite an evident music scene where I sort of considered that a possibility for myself.
When
And I was 23.
Okay, so and when you look back
Hmm.
at that, did you know that music is what you wanted to be a part of? Like singing was something that, like, hey, listen, I'm gifted. I got something here. I want to utilize that gift that I have.
You know, I really didn't growing up. I loved singing, but it seemed the idea of being in a band or being in a music industry seemed really far away to me. That was something you saw on MTV. That's something you saw on television, but it seemed very separate and far away. So growing up, no, I didn't at a very early age go, you know what, when I get out of here, I'm going to join a band and perform live. Because in truth, I mean, I'm a pretty introverted person, especially then, right? Like it took me a long time to get into a space where it felt possible. But I'd say back when I was a kid, that's not something, the only time I'd perform is maybe choir, things like that. But it wasn't something I sought out, like craved or needed. Um, it just became very much a part of my environment in Seattle. So it just seemed natural to do as opposed to forced through fear.
That's interesting. Now, when and I went back and I listened to a lot of different, things that you've been a part of, and I always listen to your earlier stuff and the later stuff, and always try to see how, especially musicians, because musicians progress and there's different variations of how people sing and how they do differently, and I mean, your vocal tone really is this beautiful energy. Like I don't know. I was trying to like my wife, because I always try to describe something to my wife before I let her listen to it. Like it's something I'm like, because my wife doesn't listen to anything I listen to, so I'm like, listen, I got a guest coming on. I want to describe her to you, and then I want you to listen to it and see, is my description correct. So I was like, well, can I? And I'm like, it's like an energy. Like and I was like, and she's like,
I
what does
love
that
that.
mean? I was just like, what is? And she's like, well, what does that mean? I'm like, well, when I listened to her music and listened to some of the earlier stuff, when I was listening to like Hammerbox, and then I went and listened to the Rockfords, and then your solo albums, and I was digging through different like variations, and I was like, wait a minute, all right, so I'm like, she's like, well, what do you mean by energy? I'm like, I don't know. It's like, so like, there's three artists I've ever only said this about. One was Tori Amos. I feel like when you listen to Tori
Yeah.
Amos, I feel like there's an energy that comes out of her. It's hard to
Hmm.
describe her vocal tone. Bjork
Hmm.
is another one. Like she's different,
Yeah.
but there's an energy that comes out of her, and the other
Yeah.
person is you. Like I really feel like
Wow.
there's this classification of like your vocal and how you sing and how that is. I don't really feel like you sing like anybody in general, but you put out this presence
Mhm.
that's very like it's very like, I don't know, it's like this energy. It's interesting, and
I love
so,
it.
well, I'm glad that you love it, because I was like, my wife's like, you might really piss her off if you say that. I said,
No.
well, th- I haven't pissed off a guest yet on the show, so it might make for an interesting one.
Yeah.
Uh,
No, I love that. I've never heard, I mean, I have heard things like that, but I love the way you say it, that it's like an energy because, and what great company. Thank you. Like, I love those ladies. And I would say both of them too are very, their singing is an organic extension of themselves, right? It's a part of the artwork that they're creating, the music, and especially Bjork and even Tori Amos too. It's storytelling and artwork, and the voice is just one of the instrument in there, and so it feels very organic to me, as an extension of who they are, and that's what my voice is to me. It's an extension of who I am in terms of me really as a person, and singing to me is it's a healing modality to me. I, I've been told over the years, and I really loved it. I've had people through Hammerbox and all the bands even say, even pretty cynical people say, when you're on stage, it's like you're healing the room.
hmm.
Like your
Yeah.
tone, there's something coming out of you, and it's taken me years because you sort of feel weird saying that, but in the last few years, I'm like, yeah, I absolutely believe that. I believe my voice and me singing is me as a healer, and I do it through singing and storytelling and performing, right? And singing is a vibration, right? Your tone, and there's healing tones. If you ever go see a healer, there's like tuning forks or meditation things you listen to. It's all about the tone, and vibration, and that is actually a healing modality, not only for an audience, but also for myself, because that's vibrating through me. Um, and so I've always really loved that because I feel like that is who I am, and I'm probably clearer about that these days than I
Sure.
would have been in the past.
Well, I mean, music in general, and this is the one thing that I feel like is excellent about music, is that music is different for different people. Like people listen to certain music to fill a different void in their life, whether it's having that void of, trying to get over something, or
Hmm.
trying to move forward from something, or maybe just to feel happy about something, or to
Hmm.
celebrate something, or something. And music can do that, and there's different, and I think that's why I love so many different, genres or variations of music, is because you're able to get that, because sometimes it fit
Yeah.
different needs and moods for you. um it's just
Yeah.
unique.
And I bet you've had times in your life that are marked by music, like,
100%.
right? Like, oh, that record was all about my 20s,
Oh yeah.
or it changed you or saved you even. I
Hmm.
I have told the story of, like, I have a letter that I've saved in my desk from a fan's mom saying, actually, myself and Tori Amos, she goes, you guys, Tori Amos and you saved him. Like he
Wow.
almost like left this world. And so I think music is incredibly powerful for people, and for all those reasons, all the things you're saying as well. Just And it could be a variety of kinds of music. Different things speak to different people, and
Sure.
but the storytelling as well, because people, you know, I think as artists, you want to write something not only for yourself, something you want to express, but in communing with fans, it's amazing. It's probably one of the best things to happen, where what you wrote affected a fan, or that it helped them in any way, or they could relate. I mean, I think that's the best exchange of art that you can have.
Well, it's interesting, because speaking to, I spoke to someone today, so maybe a future guest. I was speaking to his manager, and he's like, well, this artist doesn't like explaining what the songs are about, and I said, I love that. I said, I really do, because well, think about this, and I think I was speaking to, oh God, who was it a few weeks ago? I think it was Richard Suvarud, and I was like, sometimes I don't want to know the meaning of a song, because you might get what your idea of what the song is and how it feels to you
Right.
might, if you find out it's about, I don't know, a dog. So like
Right.
your whole life, you're like, God, this is about me, my and my wife's first kiss and all this stuff.
Yeah.
Then you come to find, well, actually, that wet, thing they talk about in the thing is actually a dog licking inside of his face. So then it kind of, you lose interest in it. Like, like my wife today was asking, we danced to Fade Into You by Mazzy Star. It was first dance at her wedding.
Yeah. Oh, nice.
I still have no idea what the hell the song's about. Like, it's just a beautiful song, and it just works. And I don't really know, because my wife's like, "What is the song actually about?" We've been married going on 13 years this year, and she's now asking me what this song's about. And I said, I have no idea. But I said, let me stop you, because if you find out it's about something really bad, or if it's like tragic, this could ruin everything, and we can have trouble. So I said, just leave it be.
We could have trouble. There'd be trouble right here.
There's trouble. You never know. Think about this. If this song is like, it could generate bad luck, and then that'd be like, damn it, it's that
There you
song.
go.
That song ruined it for us.
Well, we don't want a marriage to end over like the knowledge of the true knowledge of the song. Yeah. Well, I get that. I completely understand that, because look how much a song has become a part of your life and your landscape and moments in time. I mean, that's so powerful. So yeah, I wouldn't want to find out something I thought was really powerful was about something really mundane and stupid.
Well, I didn't think we were going to talk about this evening, but I think you would have a great grasp on this, especially what we're talking about. But like, I had a great conversation the other day, and we were talking about this, and I think it's true, but I was told it wasn't. Our generation, I'm 36, you're in your early 40s, correct?
No, honey. That's very kind of you.
Well,
no, I'm 54.
Wow.
Yeah.
I will say you look great for 54.
Thank you. It's the rock and roll.
That's right. This is just fast food.
Yeah.
When, I remember growing up, and I think I was the last era to do it. Like, you'd go to a record store and listen to music. You'd buy the physical album. You had a connection to the music. There was like, you had emotion towards music now and things, and albums especially. Like, with Dark Side of the Moon celebrating, was it 40 or 50 something years the other day?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
And you think like how magical that album is. And then I have an 11-year-old now that it's like, a trendy single that's popular for 3 days and then it's gone.
Right.
Is music, like I said, my approach to this was, it's sad to me that kids nowadays will never understand the excitement of, hey, today, the last album I clearly remember getting excited for and waiting in line for was Rage Against the Machine's Battle of Los Angeles.
Yeah.
Got up. I skipped school. I went to Pineapples on Long Island, waited in line, got the CD, listened to it. My whole mind, and like I remember reading the linear notes and like getting wrapped around and wanting, like getting like endured, like the whole album was sucking into me because it was like this political stance and everything that was coming out of it, and it was just magical. And I remember listening to it over and over again, and then you're trading it. Then remember we used to copy CDs back then, like all these things that were happening, like it's just not there anymore.
Yeah. I mean, I think maybe kids today are going to miss out on not only that, but like the great escape you can do into a record. And maybe that's just what you're saying as well. Like, I think back to like albums too, right? Just the physical handling of whatever, albums or CDs. I remember when CDs were like, oh, that's never gonna last. But I can even remember I was a kid, but I just think it's hilarious to watch the technology, like from 8-track. When we would go camping, we had 4 8-tracks. It was Jim Croce, Elton John, John Denver, and I think Barbara Streisand. Something crazy. But like even moving into like going to record shops and waiting or trying to find something that I'd never heard of. That was, something really important to me too. Like, where's the latest, like something from 4AD and, things that I couldn't get in America. Can I get them here? Imports, things like that you'd have to wait for or have somebody in the store order for you.
Yeah.
And then taking it home and like living in that record just over and over, and having the attention span and maybe having records that were built for that, that you would listen to, that you wouldn't skip around. You wouldn't leave any of the songs out. It was from beginning to end, A, B, side A, B, like, and I don't remember ever feeling like, I got to skip over that song. You know what I mean? And any record I listened to, you were in it, daydreaming. You were in it, the music really shaped my daydreams. It could take me other places. Traveling with music, I've always done, with heads, because it really like ignites visioning for me and daydreaming and possibilities and other places. And I really love that. But I feel bad for kids for the attention span or lack thereof.
Yeah.
Like, wow, there's something really rich when you can sit still long enough or have something great enough that takes you away. I mean, just that kind of experience, that's really rich. And I don't know, maybe kids do that some other way.
Yeah, it's so different. And I feel like, and it's crazy thing is, I feel like, when we were little, it's like you heard I used to walk in the snow to school and stuff. Totally. And now it's like, well, we used to have to put the record on to listen to music, and you kids got the phone with 20,000 songs on it at your fingertips. And here we are, it's like the round table, but it's, I was trying to explain to my son the other day, he's 11, and we travel back and forth. We're in the car a lot because he does soccer. So hour to his soccer, hour back. So 2 hours in the car, 5 days a week. And we were talking about music, and he was telling me, some of the stuff he likes. And I don't like discourage. I'm like, hey, if that's what you listen to, whatever. I don't, I'm not going to censor whatever you just understand that you can't say some of the things you're hearing. Like that's just as long as, but whatever makes you feel, good and whatever, that's good. But as we're in the car, I'm like, listen, have you ever heard of, Pink, have you really listened to Pink Floyd? And he's like, well, no, it's terrible music. I'm like, what do you know? I'm like, have you ever? I'm like, he's like, The Wall is just the Wall. I'm like, well, it's not just The Wall. I'm like, the best, in my opinion, besides Dark Side of the Moon, which is probably the greatest album ever put together, especially if you watch it with The Wizard of Oz. It's absolute genius.
Ooh, wow, yeah.
Which that can go into a whole nother tangent of a conversation. But Animals, 4 songs that flow together, that tell a story of like revolting against government and all like this thing. It's a beautiful piece of art. And he's like, oh, I'll listen to it. How many songs are on it? So I'm like, it's only 4 songs. And it's 48 minutes long, but you don't need to know that. It's just 4 songs. And he just didn't get it. And listen, I remember when I was his age, like, I remember my dad trying to get me into certain things, and it wasn't until later in life that I appreciated it. But like, it's just so, I just wish people would grasp it. That's why I said my point for this whole thing was I just feel bad that these kids, and there's some kids like, and it's crazy because I have my wife's cousin who's like 23 in a band, and he's like talking about like, hey, have you ever heard of the band Sponge? I'm like, yeah, from the 90s that had 3 good songs. Like, yeah, this is such good classic rock. I'm like, wait a minute.
Oh, no, right?
When the hell did Sponge become classic rock?
Oh. Yep, that's where you are now. Yeah, isn't that weird? To like you're saying, like all of a sudden, like, oh no, I'm of that age where I'm like the older person, and I don't feel old. I'm sort of permanently 25. I feel like in my mind,
That's
in
right.
my mind only. But yeah, well, I just think there's some richness that kids might miss out on that
Mm.
requires, there's something about not having all the technology where you got to make your own fun. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that requires your imagination, talent, and things like that. Not that people don't do obviously imaginative things right now, but I appreciate, growing up the way I did, getting to
Sure.
listen to music the way I did, things like that. So,
The one thing I appreciate growing up for that I miss, and I used to do it often when I first started doing these shows, was a mixtape like
oh
Anthony's
yes,
Anthony's Hot Jams
yes,
1997 Greatest Mix Ever Part
that.
1A, and then you have to you put the tape in, right? I'll never forget, you have like the double thing, and you record the ones you have, right? You fast forward, but then it's like you got that one song that like
Yeah,
K Rock's playing, and it's like, all right, I need Chumbawamba's song on this
I need it.
playlist to make it perfect. And you could wait. And the damn thing is, if you're not recording it, it comes on all the time. But if you need that on your damn
Hmm.
playlist, your
Hmm.
two fingers better be on record and play for about 4 hours
Yes.
before they play it.
Oh
And
my
then,
God.
then, then you'll wait, and boom, you get it. But then you get
Yes.
like the radio DJ. This is
Yes.
DJ Mike K, and this is Chumbawamba. Did you know they're
Yeah.
playing the Coliseum this Saturday? Tune in. And you're like, no, I don't want that on the front of it. But it is what it
Right.
is.
And I think they did that on purpose.
They definitely
You
did.
know what I mean? Right? Like they did. I remember that too. You're right. Like, oh, I can get just listen to the radio and record and quick as I can. When you said that, I was like, oh my God, yeah, I forgot all about that. That is so fun because that's so true.
Mm.
Recently, I made a playlist on Spotify, and it was like what you were talking about. Like I hadn't done that in years, and it was so much fun to like to curate a list or journey that someone could go on, right? Or at least for myself, and take music that you love in a way to show it off to people or help them get into it or
Yeah.
experience something different. God, it was so much fun.
Yeah,
I want to
the
do it again.
this might sound morbid. You might think less of me in a minute, but what I have done, and I started this back. I can actually tell you when it was created. So on iTunes, you never know when you're gonna go. Like, say it happens, it
Hmm.
happens.
Hmm.
So I was like, well, like music's a huge part of my life. I'm like, and if
Yeah.
I go, like, I want my kids to know what I listen to. Like, I want them
Yeah.
to be able to like go back and be like, oh, that was a song that Dad listened to this point. Like, most my kids are probably not going to remember the Boomtown Rats, but like the
Right.
Boomtown Rats to me are huge. Like Monday, Monday,
Yeah.
and what's it called? What the hell? I can't think of the name of the song now that I got put on the spot. But
I look it
great
up.
songs, from the day. But so I started this playlist, and it is Anthony Knows Best. That is the name of the playlist.
Cool.
And I do that because, basically, why would I not say that I know best if I'm making the playlist? And it is, as of right now, I started it back in 2017. There's
Hmm.
394 songs on it, and it takes 27 hours and 36 minutes to play it all.
I love that. I actually think that's a fantastic idea. I think it is just that you are preparing things for your kid. Not that you're so doing this all the time, but like you're preparing things like that for your kid. That's a really thoughtful thing to do because it will matter.
Yeah, yeah,
They'll want to like reflect back with things that you like to be close to you.
well, there's like songs like I keep bringing this back, like this music, like music and moments. That when you said that brought like I'll never forget, and my wife hates this. Like when my son was being born, I had made a
Mhm.
mix CD of 5
Uh-huh.
songs. I had this. This is sound nuts. You're gonna be like after you get the phone, be like, how the
I know,
hell
I
did I
love
end up
it.
talking to this schmuck? I had found it exactly the time from my house to the hospital, how many minutes it was, and I said,
Hmm.
I'm gonna find out the songs we need to listen to before we have our first kid. My wife doesn't, she understands the music obsession, but she didn't like grasp it. I literally had 5 songs, so we're backing out the driveway, and I said, "Honey, I gotta leave," and she's like ready to go, and I had to jump out the damn car because I forgot the CD was in the house, so I had to I pulled back in a little bit because I knew where I had to start. I pressed play, I backed out, did the whole thing, and when we went too fast, so I slowed down a little bit before I got to the hospital to make sure that I had because it was listen. Queen's Father to Son is a long song. I had to make sure I got
Oh,
the whole thing
wow.
out before we got there. But
Yeah.
yeah, so
Hey, she
interesting.
married you. She knows.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
And it's
That
beautiful.
that's
I think
right.
that's wonderful. Yeah, right. You're marking time. It's what a significant moment. And did put music behind it. I could totally understand that. I remember when I had my son, and maybe being the lady having the baby, it became really irrelevant. Like after a while, I thought the same thing. Like, oh, what kind of ambiance will I want or whatever? And I was like, I don't care. Like I don't care right now. Some other things are taking up space in my head, my body.
Oh, it is. It's wild. And the crazy thing is, so, there's a song I dance with my daughter with all the time. It's a song that it's Billy Joel's Lullaby. Like that song,
Oh,
just we dance it all the time. I sing it to her all the time. And then of course Adam Sandler had to put a movie out that him and his daughter that was their first dance, and
yeah.
it's called, I don't know if you've seen it, it's called The Week of on Netflix, and I've watched the movie way too many
Oh,
times.
okay.
But that part, I cry hysterically, even though
Oh,
I've
yeah.
seen the movie 30 times because I'm like, damn it, that's gonna be me one day with that song.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
then
that's awesome.
my kids, after they both were born, both of them heard the same song. It was "Given to Fly" by Pearl Jam. It was I had them,
Hmm.
had my phone out, and I played it. And it has nothing to do with birth or children. It was just something
Yeah.
that I don't know. It was given to fly out to the universe, as I put it. But
Yeah.
enough of this. Let's roll back around because we've gone on this. This
I
is
bet those guys love that though. I bet Mike and everybody loves that. If they've heard that story, I bet they're like, oh,
So
maybe.
I met Mike back in 2018 when I went up to Flight to Mars,
Hmm.
and I let him know that, and then yeah, and he
Yeah.
appreciated it.
Yeah.
I had to do my best. There's certain people you meet in life. You have to do your best to I don't want to fanboy. You don't want to just blood out everything, So you have to roll it in. I did a good job, and
Hmm.
but yeah, that was a big one. But yeah, no, there's
Yeah.
music that makes moments, and moments that make your life, and music moments life. I don't know. It's like a triangle. It just has its points.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. I agree.
So going back to bands and you being in bands,
Hmm.
what was
Hmm.
the first band, not that went mainstream or popular, that you were in?
First band I ever did was Hammerbox, which
Really?
went, yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
usually
Like
there's
I
a,
really believe I'm. No, no, a string of crappy bands, and then you finally
yeah.
no. I literally one day decided. Well, I did. I had done some things that were hard before deciding, like, hey, I want to go be in a band. I had spent a year in France. I was really obsessed with France, and I wanted to speak French. So I went to school for a quarter and stayed there. And it's probably one of the hardest things I've ever done. Um, and when I got back, I was like, okay, if you can do that, what else would you like to try? And that really was the impetus to head towards music. I was like, well, if I can do that, that was terrifying. Um, Maybe and it was very evident in Seattle that there was this huge scene or a burgeoning scene. It hadn't exploded yet. But there was a lot of infrastructure in place, like the Rocket and lots of people in bands and things like that, that made me feel like I could, right? So I literally got the Rocket. I mean, I had no idea. I was like, I don't know how you do this. So I got the Rocket, looked at the wanted ads in the back, saw an ad that I was looking for anything that I could relate to because I wasn't going to be in a metal band. I wasn't like, who is saying any here that I could relate to? And Dave and James had put in an ad asking for singers. They didn't say male or female, and they gave their people that they like, and it was like Husker Du, a bunch, I can't remember who else, but then they were like Annie Lennox, and I was like, ooh, boom. Like I'm a huge Annie Lennox fan, right? And she can sing. And I could be similar. And so that made me go, oh, that I can relate to that. But that's all I had to go on, really. I mean, I literally didn't know anything. So I called them and they wanted to know if I had a tape, and and I was like, no, I don't, I don't have a tape, and I'm not going to make one. And so they were like, okay, well, come over, and I tried. I went to go try out. And again, remember, these are like first. Every step is a first for me. So I went to go meet them at this house they lived at and practiced in, and we talked for a while, and then they were like, well, we've been writing. And we've got a drum and bass here, and so we want to go in here, and we're going to start playing some things, and you start singing. And I was like, oh god. I mean, I was terrified, but I kind of do well when there's sort of like there's no going back, you know what I mean? So I was
Sure.
like, okay. I mean, what was I going to do? I guess at that point I could have said like, no, this is too scary, and left. um but I was like, okay, not knowing any better. And they went in and they started playing, and I, like, out of nowhere, I think I surprised myself. Out of nowhere, I just started getting melody in my head and started singing.
Wow.
And I can sing. So, I mean, I knew that. Like, I knew I could sing. But I didn't know if I fit in the context of a band, or, I didn't know anything, right? Like, who am I in a band? Like, what kind of music? Like, I didn't predefine anything, not one thing. So I just was like, I guess I'm going in this direction. These guys are doing something. And when they started playing, like, I liked it. But again, everything was new to me. So I was like, sure. Um, and so they were like, oh, we'll let you know, kind of thing. And I was like, all right. And, sure enough, they called and they were like, yep, you're in. Um, and then my neighbors were the ones who introduced us to Harris. Right below me, I had a neighbor who was like, hey, my friend Harris from Eugene plays guitar. And we were like, okay. So like the band got together like fast. That wasn't like a long span of time.
Wow.
Yeah,
That
I
that's
feel,
And it's kind of like the cool thing about it is like as you're growing as a singer, instead of having to grow and kind of have a leaf fall off in different bands and stuff, you did
yeah.
blossom with this one band, which is it's unique. It's that's I mean I've interviewed quite a few people. That's the first time I've ever heard that. A lot of people have like those like the stumbling blocks before,
Yeah.
and they usually have like those really terrible band names that lead up to their first. That's what I was hoping for. But listen, this is an interesting
Yeah.
a way of doing it.
Well, I mean, I'm kind of like that. I've always been like that. Once I decide, and it's very intuitive for me. So it's very like, yep, ready, go. And then usually then I'm going. You know what I mean? I
Hmm.
mean, there'll be stumbling blocks maybe, but I'm usually only saying yes and go because I somehow know it's the right time and the right thing to do. And then the rest I'm like, we shall see. I don't know. I don't control things. I just need that initial spark. I need to know that to say like, are we ready? Yes, go.
So you're like one of those people that as soon as an idea comes in that you feel is this is what I want to do, you just go for it.
Yeah.
Do you
Yeah.
find, because I'm the same way, do you find that a lot of
Mhm.
times you might butt head with people that are like the planning people, like the ones that want to plan things
Yes.
out? Yeah, I don't
Yes.
work well with planning people very well. Like,
Yes.
I'm like, listen, this idea is gonna work. Let's do it.
Yeah. Well, you probably got a sense, like a gut feeling, right? Like that's your
Sure.
artistry as well, and your magic is to have that knowledge, and you're a risk taker, right? Those I find those things to be great traits. People do great things when they are in tune with themselves. But you're right. I think the people who like to control things find it maddening or frightening. Like if you ask my husband, I think he finds it slightly terrifying. Like he's just like, "What are we doing?" I'm like, "We're out. We're going." Like, and I don't do things to be reckless. I
Hmm.
just am not. I'm no holds bar. Once I feel intuitively like it's a yes now.
Yeah.
Um, but sometimes that can also, again, I think for people who are more comfortable with a lot of control, like I said, I think are really afraid of that kind of processing,
Hmm.
or they kind of can, and I think they can do this because they're afraid as well. They can kind of write you off as crazy or an idiot, right? Like, you're just crazy. What are you doing? You don't know what you're
Yeah.
doing. And I'm like, yeah, I actually do. I just do it this way
Sure. No,
and point out where I've been wrong.
yeah, Yeah, and I think I'm the type of person that I'd rather fail and
Yeah.
then take a step back and be like, how did I fail? And then move forward from that failure, than to think about the failures that are going to come from it and try to avoid
Yeah.
them. Because I think that if you think too much about the failures or how things are going to cause issues, I think you're going to run into them anyway. Like I think you're going to be so
Yeah.
nervous about getting to those failures, like that you're trying to avoid them so much that it's just inevitable. Where I don't know. And once again, it's different for different people, but like
Mhm.
for me and like this show in general, like I message people consistently. Like when we talked and I said, hey, you're like, well, how do how do you prepare? I said, I don't over prepare for shows because I
Right.
like the natural conversation. I like the fact that I only know so much about the people that are coming on for the first time, because most of the
Mhm.
guests I have, if you look at my history, I've had guests on 3, 4, 5 times, and every time it's
Oh,
a
cool.
different story because we get to know each other, we're building from it, I'm learning from you, and then it's
Mhm.
growing into progression of different topics and stories that I know that we can build off each other as things come up down the road. And
Yeah.
I believe in that. If you're just gonna sit there and be like, so Carrie, you were in a band called Hammerbox, how was that? Because I mean, let's be realistic. You've probably done a million interviews in your life, and
Mhm.
if I ask you the same questions, well, guess what? You could probably see all those damn things on YouTube. Like,
Sure.
everything that you've done in the past has been done on YouTube, and it's got to be different. So, does it work with everybody? No. There's been definitely two guests in general that I tried my best to get on the show, and they wouldn't do it unless we had a set list questions. I'm like, but it's not me, and I can't do that. And one
Right.
of them is killing me that I'm not going to have, but I have to stick to my
Mhm.
guns too.
Yeah. Well, like one, I think that's wonderful. I think you and I are a lot alike. Like I totally understand what you're saying. And I think there's a lot of, like you said, organic, natural conversation, relationship building, and great things, great things can come out of that. But
Sure.
someone who is really afraid and or has had maybe a lot of bad things happen in interviewing, and so they're guarded, might want guardrails on, right? But
Sure.
that's their trauma. That's not really about you.
Of course.
That's not that you're doing anything wrong. It's what they're doing to make themselves feel safe, and
Hmm.
it's what they know how to do and how they like to do it. But I'm like you. I love kind of the allowing for the mystery of things to come up, and I'm comfortable uh, in the awkward. Even I don't care. Like none
Yeah.
of it's bad. None of it's wrong or bad. It's just an exchange. I feel that way about music as well. I've said, like, anytime I've done solo music, I do it. I create a different band for each record, and I will gather people I know are talented. Like, pick people, ask them. Hopefully, they say yes. That I know are talented, and I also am thinking, I wonder what this group of people will do. But and I'll hand them songs. We'll play them, but we don't play them to death, because I want there to be room to see what will they do with it, right? I know I have the ultimate say, but I love not being in control and allowing a bunch of people to take something and go, what? Oh, I wonder what they're going to make out of it. And I've yet to have that fail, for me, at least. I've loved it, and I enjoy the exchange. I like them. I like that they get to be their their own artist, right? Like, I'm not
Sure.
looking to impose my will on people. Like, I wrote the song, I have a sense of the things I'd like to try, but the rest, I don't really want to know.
Yeah.
Show me.
Yeah. Let's build it together. Let's not do it.
Yeah, yeah,
Let's just figure it out as we go.
yeah,
That's the
yeah. I
biggest
love
thing.
that.
Yeah. Just
Hmm.
figure. It's hey, throw it. We'll throw it on the wall. We'll see how it lands, and we'll
Yeah,
go from there.
exactly. See, you're like a
That's
brother from another mother.
quite. Listen, maybe. I
Maybe.
mean, I have no idea. I don't even know. We have no idea. We'll see how it goes. Well, have you done that ancestry DNA? Maybe we have that
Aw.
connection.
All
I
right,
mean,
it's on my list.
let's see. You have an A in your last name. I have an A in mine. You have a K in yours. There's a K R.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, every letter in your name's in mine, so there's got to be some sort of connection.
That means you're related to everyone, though, maybe.
Quite, quite possibly. Isn't it? What was it like? 7 layers to Kevin Bacon or something like that? What was that?
Oh, 6 degrees. Six
Six
degrees.
degrees of from Kevin
Yeah.
Bacon. I gotta remember that. That was crazy. And it's the documentary that came out of that was like ridiculous. Like how you literally are.
Yeah.
Like you can talk if you get your neighbors down the road. Like somehow or another, you can get in touch with one person. Like
I kind of
it's
love that.
nuts. Just
It's so
crazy.
weird.
It is really weird. It is. It's a terribly small world.
Yeah.
But so Hammerbox
Yeah.
success. Big, quite. I mean, I was looking statistically at your listens on Spotify, which is a pretty open thing. iTunes, you can't get nothing out of. Apple locks everything down. But and it is, when it comes. So I've a good portion of who I've interviewed and had success with is a lot of Seattle musicians because it is a Seattle sound or Seattle family. You guys are all working together up there, which I always find extremely clever how one artist has worked with everybody up there and it's just a round robin of
Right.
different bands. And I find that
Right.
beautiful. Like Tim
Yeah.
DeJulio is literally in
Oh, I
every
love
single
Tim.
band, and Tim is probably the greatest. I mean, when Mike McCready
Yes.
tells you like I said, I've told Mike, I'm like, Mike, you're the greatest guitarist I've ever seen live. He said, no, watch this, and then Tim starts playing Purple Rain, yeah, and then he's like, no,
Yes.
he's the greatest guitarist I've ever seen, and
Yeah.
it's amazing, and God, he's such an amazing human being. But he's a part of like every band up there, and he's so freaking talented. But that's just
He is.
Seattle for
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. I'm on the waiting list. I've seen Timmy. Timmy and I played in he's played in a band where we covered a bunch of my stuff, like Hammerbox and everything. And I was like, Tim, we need to do something. He's like, oh yeah. Oh yeah, I'll be there. All right. And I was like, all right, we gotta make that happen. Because he's amazing. Yeah, he is amazing.
Yeah, I joked with him. We had him. He was recently on the World Tour show, where Rob Benson and me we listened to music
Oh
from
yeah,
around the
Rob
world.
Benson.
Love Rob.
Yeah.
So me and Rob, yeah, we have the show Rob and
Yeah.
Anthony's World Tour, where we came up with this crazy idea, where he finds an artist he's never heard of, and
Uh-huh.
he
Oh.
brings it to the show. I
Uh-huh.
then go around the world and find an artist I've never heard of that I fall in love with and bring it to the show. And then a fan of the podcast makes a suggestion for it. And the first guest we ever had was Tim, so Tim did the same thing. And we listen.
Nice.
And so on the show, all of us like I'll play my song and then we talk about it afterwards, and Rob and so on and so forth. But yeah, no, it's just such
Yeah.
amazing people up there. I mean,
Yeah.
Tim's amazing. I tried hinting to Tim. I'm like, listen, I'm gonna have to come to Seattle once legally I'm
Yes.
allowed to. And
Yeah.
I said, God, I've had this idea in my head for this album. And I said, Tim, if you're on every band up there, can you just give me a song?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because I have this like
I love that.
concept album in my head. I've had this concept album for a long time. I don't know, like probably 18 years. And one of these days I'm going to put these instruments
Gotta
that
get
are
it out.
sitting in my studio to work.
Yeah, I love that.
Mm.
I've got a funny story about Rob too. When
Oh.
Rob was in one of his earlier bands with a boyfriend I had at the time, and when I heard Rob sing, and I'm a singer, and when I heard Rob has an amazing voice,
Oh, yes.
like amazing, and I love singers, right? Like it's rare when I hear a singer maybe locally like his or such a good voice that like I was captivated. It was so good. I remember the boyfriend being like peeved. Like, you like Rob, whatever. And I'm like, no, I like that Rob can sing. Like, that's it. I'm a singer. You know what I mean? Of course I'm captivated. But he's one of the rare people that I've met where I've just been like, whoa, that voice right there. Wow.
Yeah, God, Rob is one of my like favorite human beings in the whole world. We've done a ton with the show and stuff, and I mean, Stereo Embers is the one who wrote the song
Yeah.
or they had this song that wasn't released and said, "Hey, use it for your podcast," which kind of I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
Which is, I mean, like I said, Rob is just, I mean, such a great, I mean, but all the musicians I've met up and out of Seattle, I mean, it's just, you guys are so loaded with these talented musicians like yourself and like Tim and like Rob and like Mike and everyone else that's coming out of there. I mean, Danny Newcomb, I mean, the Free World,
Yeah.
there's so many people that are so talented doing all these different things. It's just, it's amazing as an outsider from Seattle, living in Virginia now, being from the Northeast and looking over there at this big city, but it's really just a small community of people that are really
Yeah.
doing these amazing things and kind of go back to each other. It's kind of like the Rockfords. When I look at that and I think of Mike McCready working, you guys working together, making this music, which, it was interesting that prior to doing this, like I had heard the Rockfords, but like probably was, I don't know, it's probably been 10 years since I actually put the album on. So when you haven't
Yeah.
listened to something for 10 years and you put it on, it's new again. Like your
Yeah.
brain's listening to it again for the first time. You're older. It's something different. It's not like one of those songs you consistently put on. So it was like, wow, like this, like how is this not happening still? Like why,
Right.
how the hell can we get this? Like can we get album number 2? Can we get like the next, can we get the next tour? Like can we do
Right.
something with it? It was just, it
Yeah.
really was. It was like it was new to me again, and it was like, wow, this is, I need more of this.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. I love that. I mean, that was kind of how I felt about the playlist I made. It's all women from the Northwest and
Hmm.
who were making music. It still make music, but we're doing it around the time I was, like Viz Queen, Rachel Flotard or Heather Doobie, Deja, and Kim Virant, right? And I made this playlist, and it's not only these women and their songwriting, it's all those musicians you're talking about. Tim's in there. You know what I mean? Like I know the musicianship that played on all these records, and it's stellar. It's still amazing. And so I feel the same way. I'm like, why is this not huge now? Like, why? Because it stands the test of time, and it's good. And I think Seattle, has a long lineage of music, right? Going back to jazz and things like that. Or probably, whatever. But there's always been music there. Um, and there's certain, you're right. It is like this, community village of people who are, especially Tim and the people we know too. Like we came up and were a part of, the whole grunge era too, which was like just sort of hyper focused, but it was also people playing with each other on in shows, and it was small enough and affordable enough at the time too, where you could, you know, hit a guitar player on the corner or whatever. It's sort of like, here we go. Or like, if you want to play a show, I'll play a show. Hey, do you want to play on this or whatever? So everyone has kind of functioned that way the whole time, right? So that's just a part of it. And what a pleasure. I feel like that. I had told somebody recently, I said, nowadays, what makes me happy is knowing I do know so many great musicians. And so for as long as I can or want, I can write music, record music with amazing people, and perform with amazing people. And that makes me good to go. Like, no matter what happens with that music, popularity wise, that's a rich life. I feel very lucky.
Talking about writing music, which is
Hmm.
something that always intrigues me because to me, like I have an extremely hard time writing music because I have a level I want it to be at and I can just never meet that. Like I have an idea, it's just getting that idea out on paper. When you write anything and you go
Hmm.
into the studio, what what is that like for you? Are you going in the studio with books of pre-written stuff, or you just like, I know that we've already talked about how you are, but when it comes to music and music writing, how's it experience? Does it take weeks? Is it something that just comes right off the top of the hip? How is that for you? Because production and
Hmm.
producing is something that magnifies me.
Yeah. Um, I write very periodically. One, I'm not like a prolific write every day, write all the time. Um, I will write in swaths, you know what I mean? Like every couple years. It's very emotional based, right? So it's my songs are very much what's happening around me or to me. And it's very emotional based. So it could take a long time to collect those songs, or I'll just, be writing, and then when it feels right, I'll be like, time to make a record.
Mm.
Um, and if we're in the studio and there needs to be something, I also write very rhythmically.
Oh, okay.
Like if I've always said, like, give me a drummer and I can write songs for days. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Like that for some reason really triggers a lot of ideas, probably because I write vocally line very rhythmically. Um, and so that'll put a fire under me. That actually gets me going. But and then, songwriting itself, some songs come out like in a deluge, almost mystically, come out, or come from within out. And then sometimes, yeah, you do have to work at it. But for me, it's like I'm trying to work at it, but I can't. It can't be something where I'm trying to control the crap out of it.
Hmm.
And I'm not one of those people who, I'm just not one of those people who's like, I'm going to examine every word, or the poetry's got to be so good, or some people are real thinkers when they write, and I'm much more emotional when I write. I mean, I
Okay.
love words, but it's really spurred on by emotion.
Wow. Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
like I said, it's just it's really mystifying, not magnifying. I don't know why I said magnifying. That was a terrible word. Once again, I explained. I gave the disclaimer in the beginning of the show. Um, but no, it's very mystifying, and it's trying to understand that, because, and like I said, I know, for speaking to a lot of singers and musicians in general, like it's just like it's a very natural feeling to them, and it's and it comes from them, and there's a lot of hard work involved in it. None of this stuff comes overnight,
Yeah.
but it's coming from everything written out. But it's just so magical, but it also very infuriating when you heard that, like Stairway to Heaven, or like when I was watching the documentary of Pink Floyd the other day, not to keep bringing them up, but like they were doing Dark
Mhm.
Side of the Moon, like when you're hearing time, said, yeah, we did that in 3 takes. 3 takes, like that's
Yeah.
like but when they were writing that, they weren't writing that thinking that was going to be a song that in
Right.
2021 would be still so relevant, or
Yeah.
magical and stuff. But
I think that's important. I think when you're in a free space and you're not worried about anything and you're just an open channel, like that's when, and amazing things can come out if you're willing to not control it and just enjoy yourself. I think sometimes when people overthink it, they're forgetting to, and they're not enjoying what they're doing anymore.
mm,
And a lot of times, just the practice of learning how to get out of the way is a thing as
sure.
well, that isn't always easy, especially if something's not coming to you. But I mean, lots of people have different ways that they get music out, and you've got all kinds of writers and people are writing hits, right? They have their whole mechanisms and way they collaborate and write. But I agree with you. I think there's often something really mystical about writing.
Hmm.
Like, like the last solo record I did, that's a lot around my mom passed away 7 years ago. And so that record, the songs reflect kind of either my thoughts around that, or it's about her. Or one of the songs, Righteous My Love, it was one of the first songs I was able to write after she passed. And I just sort of like, it just came out. It was one of those things. So I had it recorded on my phone, just piano and that song. And then a couple years later, I was like, well, I got to take a look at it. Maybe I need to reshape it. And I was trying to head in like some sort of organized, I got to reorganize these lines and what's this song all about? I was really trying to work it. And I went back and listened to that phone recording and was in tears,
Mm,
because it seemed to me in that moment that I was like, oh no, this is me and my mom talking to each other. And
mm,
so I didn't change anything. Like the first half of that song is me speaking about, like, in words, like her passing and the effect. And then the second half of it is her saying, I see you, keep going, that kind of thing. And so I didn't touch it, but I really believe it was that. I'm like, no, this isn't whatever it was, an exchange. And that's what it's meant to be. So I'm going to
hmm.
let it be that.
Wow, that's pretty beautiful. I mean, I like that you were able to break down the process in that and utilize it, but then also you stepped away from it, and you went, and then you tried to do something different, then went back to
Yeah.
it and its original, and realized, hey, there's a reason why this was built at this time this way, and it works this way. And if I over that, no, that's awesome.
Right.
It's like I said, I literally can listen to the progression of things, because it is amazing how things are built and how things are
Yeah,
created.
for
It's
sure.
such an amazing art. It's astounding. It
Yeah.
really is. Now, what I've in listening to you speak, and there's been this interview, and going on going on the tangents with me that we've gone on. One of the things that I've gotten to know about you over the last few weeks, and since we've became social media friends,
Hmm.
is that you are doing this life coaching.
Hmm.
That's what they're calling it? It's life coaching, correct?
Yeah, I sort of call myself an intuitive life coach just because
Okay.
a lot of intuition seems to come into it when I'm working with people. That this doing this work is another natural extension of who I am as a person. And it came about after years of my experience, I think, leaving music and going to work in jobs and feeling really lost and not myself. And then having some pretty major devastating life events, right, which change you. And so I started to much more consciously wonder what other thing out there is seems very true and authentic to me that I would like to do, as work or contribute, right? Music is definitely that for me, but what else is there that I might be purposely here for, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And someone had talked to me about life coaching, and I was like, well, what's life coaching? And um, they kind of explained it to me, and I was like, that just feels what I do naturally. You know what I mean? And so I was like, oh, maybe that's something. And I went and got certified, and you learn a lot in there, but it does feel like a natural extension. Like, I by nature am someone who is sticks up for the underdog, right? Like, I am not risk adverse. I have been through a lot of change, but I am not afraid of change. I kind of yearn for it, and I've had a huge swath of life experience that I can bring to the table depending on what somebody wants to work on. And just that exchange of being able to utilize anything I have to help someone, or provide like safe private space for them to, in order to help them remember themselves, to honor themselves. I mean, these are kind of the themes that are important to me, like returning to your authentic self and honoring that,
Hmm.
knowing that that is the most important thing to do, like that you are in your life are the one who does have all the answers. It's sometimes you just have to take a look at your stories you're telling yourself, heal some wounds, um, and learn some other philosophies about how, can you trust in the world again? Can you trust yourself? And what are the tools you use to do that? And I talk a lot about, using your gut or intuition as your guiding, tool. Because, you're the one who has to tell yourself, like, do you like that or not?
Mm-hmm.
But if you've gotten out of the habit of even listening to yourself, or you don't trust yourself, that's when people, I think, get off track and they get lost, and they, you know, are unhappy, or, for lots of reasons. So it's just subject matter that I naturally love,
Yeah.
and I have gratitude, I guess, around finding a second thing.
Yeah. It's interesting because I've heard the term life coach. I've never seeked one out or talked to one, or I
Hmm.
never I guess I don't know how to say that. I guess I never found the need for one per se. But
Hmm.
if there's a person that was listening to the show that maybe didn't realize they need a life coach, what things in life do you think would suggest that you would need a life coach?
Well, one of the things is that I don't think people ask for help very easily, and
Mm,
everyone deserves support wherever you
sure.
are, or with whatever question you have right now in your life. I think some of the big times are midlife. So I think often people get to a certain age and something stops working, or you don't enjoy your job anymore, or you can kind of feel that you need change, but you don't know what that's all about, or something catastrophic happens and you're like, now what? Those are great moments to go get support. And a life coach is not a therapist, right? They are not a therapist. So for deep trauma and things like that, you want to go find someone who's qualified for that. But
Sure.
for like life path and journey path, a life coach is there to help you hear yourself, give suggestions. Like, I will give suggestions, or I will help um, stop and point out, hey, you just said your answer. It's having, I call myself kind of the killer journey buddy. It's having the person on your shoulder to say, everything's okay. Or, hey, wait, you just said the answer. Or, like, maybe could consider this. Or what do you think about that? Um, or letting people know that change isn't like the worst thing ever, that it can actually be amazing,
Sure.
and that they have all the answers on the inside. So someone is really like a a guide, to help you figure out or remember, like, what do you like? What would you like? And that's okay if you like that. Let's go help you go get that. I mean, I by nature want to go, hell yeah, we're going to go get that. Like, I'm the person on your shoulder who's sort of like, hell yeah, you want that? Yeah, we're going to go get that. What do you want me to do to help you do that? Like, so, I mean, I crave that kind of to be the killer journey buddy. So even if someone, so midlife is huge, right? Anytime someone feels lost and they don't really know what to do next, getting support like that is incredibly empowering, because we're there to remind you that you're fine, like that you're the thing that counts
Sure.
in your life. You're the only thing that counts. I mean, other than in terms of making your life decisions.
Of course.
So it can be a really empowering exchange if someone, can muster courage or not feel scared or embarrassed to go get help.
Yeah, I think you made a lot of, well, first of all, a lot of great points, but one that really stuck out is a lot of people just are so scared or fearful
Mm-hmm.
of saying,
Yeah.
hey, I'm not perfect. Hey, I
Mm-hmm.
need help. Because I
Right.
think, that goes back to, what social media is. And sometimes I have to rein myself in because if you do or say something that the majority of people might not like, well, then you're not going to get the likes. You're not going to get that satisfaction. And I think a lot of people are so
Mm-hmm.
scared to say, "Help me," or "Hey, this isn't working," or being, I mean, there's quite a few times in my life where I've had to say, "All right, this isn't working. Stop.
Right.
Let's readjust."
Sure.
Maybe it's going to be hard in the beginning, but in the long run, it's going to be better.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny you
Yeah.
say, because I mean, 2020 was God, it was crazy. It's crazy
Yeah.
freaking years it was for me. I mean, 20, I couldn't have picked a worse year to do like, I'm like, well, not really. It all worked out like, hey, I am now officially just going to work for myself. Like that was a year I decided to like completely pull away from, working for working with my father. I'm like, I'm going to do this all myself. And it worked
Mm-hmm.
out. And then,
Mm-hmm.
or, this show in general, it started off on its own, then went off and did something else. And then now it's back on its own again. It's sometimes it's scary, but the one thing, greatest piece of advice I got from somebody that was as actually a life coach,
Mm-hmm.
that is a Pearl Jam friend of mine. He's like, and he straight up said, he's like, until you are comfortable making the changes that you want to make and actually
Mm-hmm.
execute those changes, you're going to continue being stuck and hating what you're doing.
Yes. Bingo. Because I was going to say, but are you happy? Yeah, then you're doing great.
Oh
You're
God.
doing what you want to do.
Oh yeah. Can it be stressful and
Sure.
is everything perfect? No. But you know what? I like my non-perfect self. That's the
But
goddamn truth.
yeah, but in your gut, how you're heading in the right direction. Sure, it's
Sure.
going to be hard. You're learning, but it's that deep down gut feeling of like, can't put my finger on it, but this feels like the right thing to do. That's you talking to you. And
Yeah.
a lot of people have lost that relationship with themselves, and they've been looking outwards or outside for like, what should I do here? Or what am I supposed to do here? There's a lot of like shoulds, because we live in a culture that tells you this is the construct you're supposed to live in order to be a quote unquote success.
Exactly.
These are the rules that you're supposed to play in order to have a real success.
Yeah.
um, and it's a game. It's not true. What makes you happy. I mean, you're doing it, like, and only you can answer that, and it
Sure.
takes a lot of courage to do what you're doing. I would say when you said, oh, I picked the worst time, I'm like, I think you just did the most miraculous, courageous thing there is. Seems like the very right thing to do, and
Yeah.
nothing's going wrong. You're being an entrepreneur. But other people might look from the lens of a given idea of success and be like, you're doing a wacky thing with no guarantee, and you're doing it because you like those aren't the rules that I was raised with. What the hell's that? And I'm like, he's doing the right thing. He's doing the right thing.
Well, it's interesting. This past Friday, I'm not the biggest fan of her music, but Billie Eilish put out that documentary. I don't know if you've seen it yet on Apple
I
TV.
haven't seen it yet. Yeah.
Gee, I'm gonna tell you something. And you're a parent, you said, right? You have kids.
Yes.
You're going to want to hug this girl throughout this documentary so many times because you
Really? Yeah.
realize that like it's so different how what she wants, what she has to portray, like what she wants to give people, like when she starts breaking down, like all these emotions, because it's like this give or take, and there's parts of the thing, and like you realize she's like you can see like the beginning where she's doing what she wants. Then
Yeah.
it's like now they're changing a little bit because it's kind of they're doing what the record label wants, and then you
Yep.
can see where she finally there's a portion where she's like, I'm taking control back, and
Yeah.
there's definitely parts of it you like. I would hate like like I'm very aware of my 11 and 5-year old of what's going on in the world, and I make sure they are too of what's going on in the world in general. But like it's scary. Like I couldn't imagine growing up now with everything. You have more eyes on you now than ever,
Yeah.
and I think now more kids are scared to ask for help than ever. And the reason I know this for 100% certainty is my son, who is a goalkeeper, has this foundation he started called Keeper for a Cure. And this
Oh,
season,
cool.
he's doing something where he is doing an anti-bullying pledge. Where
Oh, cool.
in the fall, he raised money for breast cancer awareness, which is very important to him. So he raised like over $3,000 to help women who couldn't afford breast cancer treatments at the hospital in Charlottesville.
Wow. Cool.
And then this season, he's working with some pro soccer players and things. And what they're doing is he wants to have people pledge on social media, like to hold a sign saying, I pledge with the hashtags that I'll stand up against bullying. Because the statistics
Yeah.
are crazy. The
It's
one
awful.
statistic that stood in my head today, which is the most disgusting thing in the world, 87% of deaths from the age of 7 years old to 18-year-old from 2018 to I think 2000 middle of 2020 last year were that had nothing to do with medically were due to self-harm due to bullying.
Yeah.
And they said, and I forgot the other number, but the majority of them never asked for help.
Yeah. Yeah, because the funny thing with the internet, it's like you have more eyes on you than ever, and everyone has access to everyone, but there's no accountability.
No.
And it actually makes you more isolated.
Yeah.
You're not connected truly in a deep way that's trustable and truly kind. I mean, there's kind people out there,
Yeah.
but it's not the same. I think kids are even more isolated, and the fact that they're in a space where those things online matter,
Hmm.
like the likes and getting attention and have you noticed me is rampant, like
Hmm.
just rampant. I'm like, if that's what you're looking for, oh, you are like you're set up to not fail, but like,
Be
ooh,
in a world of hurt.
caring about that is going to lead you down a wrong road, right? But and think about how fragile kids are in terms in their growth and their mentality and going through like puberty and any of those things. You're in such a vulnerable state. I mean, bullying was bad enough like when I was in junior high, right? But at
Yeah.
least it happened at school and then I went home, right? Like I didn't have to deal with it other than maybe sometimes during school if I had it, right?
Sure.
There was a cordoned off kind of time that it would happen. But now it's like if a kid's on a phone or computer all the time or whatever, like unless you give yourself a break or take the break, it is on you all. And people are vicious and crazy, like threatening to kill someone or just saying the most terrible things as well. There's just like there's no accountability, and you've put no accountability in the hands of also other kids
Yeah.
whose knee jerk is like, I'm just going to say something mean to you with no understanding of the damage.
Sure. Yeah. Words really do hurt, and
Hmm.
sometimes words hurt more than other things, than physical pain, because
Right.
sometimes the internal pain is more long term than a bruise.
Yeah.
And it's God, like another statistic that runs in my head: every 7 minutes, a child's bullied. Every
Hmm.
7 minutes, a child is bullied. And the re- and
Well,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. And the thing is, like, every time we do things like this, when my son does like the breast cancer, when he raises the money for breast cancer, like he knows where the money's going. He tours the hospital. He understands everything about it. when we talked about what do you want to do this season, and he said, there was a kid at school that was getting bullied. He didn't like it. It made him feel uncomfortable, and we talked about it. And he said he wanted to do something. I said, this is great. You're not asking people for money. You're asking people to pledge that they are against it. And
Right.
but he the thing is too, like I look at this as like life experience as well. Like he needs to learn that this is not okay now, that he needs to know that he needs to stand up for people, because a lot, he's
Right.
my son is 11 years, he's very much a leader. Like he's very, he's very
Obviously.
out there. Yeah, he's very much
That's
like
great.
this, I don't know, he's very larger than life, always has been. So I'm like, people will follow if you do the right thing, because it always takes that one person that people want to follow, do the right thing. And yeah, and you could see like
Yeah.
him reading some of the stuff. It's bothersome, but he needs to learn these things. Like I don't want him to be. I think that's one thing that's been really, like, when we were younger, we knew what was going on. We weren't like
Right.
our kids didn't like. Well, I mean, our parents didn't like sugarcoat things. Like it was like mine. Like my dad and my mother were really young. They had me when they were 16. But like my grandparents were like they were like hardcore. Like I knew what was going on in the world. Nowadays,
Right.
I feel like some kids are shielded from things too much. Like, and there's some
Yeah.
things they should, but I think they also need to understand what, like, for instance, bullying, what it is, why it's wrong, because it starts so young. And like you said, it used to be just at school. Now it's, you get text messages from somebody,
Oh my
you get
God. Yeah.
messages online, people are talking about you online. All these things are happening. It's just nonstop, and it's just scary. But
Well, and don't you think now it happens also in ways people aren't aware of until it's too late? Like bullying comes in a lot of forms, right? Gaslighting, or making you feel crazy, not just saying directly awful things to you, but slowly psychologically shutting you out of a group, right? Maybe with no words, like we just don't call you anymore, or we don't text you anymore, or, just bullying comes in a lot of different formats.
yeah.
And so I'm really glad he's doing that. I think that's wonderful.
Yeah, he's I
He's
think
awesome.
I think you and me both can agree to this, both having children, is like I believe that when you have a child, you're trying to look at the wrongs that you might have done in life and
Hmm.
try to steer them away from it, because you want them to be a better person than you are. Like I believe
Hmm.
that is the reasoning behind parenting. Like you should always have your children be better than you, and that's what I want for my kid. And I was not a good kid in school. My grades were horrendous.
Hmm.
Like I was a product of the situation I was in growing up. I'm glad I overcame a lot of that. But like he's, the kid is, I mean, he's playing on, I mean, he's 11 years old. He's playing on the U.S. national team this summer,
Oh,
for
wow.
soccer, starting, older in an older team than he's supposed to be. He's on one of the
Hmm.
top. He's a number one goalkeeper in the state of Virginia. He's raising money for all these charities. He's doing these great things. Like, God, I mean, like I feel like I'm that parent that brags about their kid, but like
That's
this, like,
awesome, though.
but yeah, but like, listen, my kid deserves all like the praise in the world. Like it's
Yeah.
just he's amazing. And then I have this beautiful daughter who just turned 5 years. So he's the cutest thing in the world.
Hmm.
And I'll fight anybody who says otherwise. But
Papa.
even though we're talking
Yeah.
about anti-bullying, and I'm ready to fight people, but
Right.
you
Well,
know, it is.
you're a dad. Of course you're
That's
going to
right.
fight for her. And you know what? It's good for a girl to see a male figure, stick up for her
Sure.
and let her, you know what I mean? That it counts for something, I think. I think the things important to me with I mean, we both think, yeah, definitely doing well in school, but also, like I have a tendency towards school to sort of be like, here's what school is, right? And here's the game, and let's play it well, but we're not going to hurt ourselves over it.
Hmm.
But what I want more is for him to be himself and to be proud of that.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, my son one year was like, Mom, you know what? I think I'm a nerd. And I was like, I hope you are. That's awesome. Like, plenty of very successful, whatever.
Yeah.
And he's a very kind soul. But the other thing I also, for me, and it probably comes from my background, is I really want him to be able to, like, with us, like, state an opinion, complete a sentence. Like I want us to allow him, like, let him say the whole sentence, whether we agree or not, so that he finds and has a voice. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that he can practice that and say, don't be afraid. Don't just shut up. And because I think that's what kids can do too, is they just go, oh, why bother? I'm never going to win. I don't even
Exactly.
tell you how I feel. And I was like, no, I want you to be able to have your voice and exercise that. And maybe I don't agree, but not because you, for a good reason. yeah, I don't know. I'm very sensitive about that. Like maybe he has a different way and I hadn't considered it. And I'll be like, okay, you know, then sounds good. You seem to know yourself. Here's the goal. If you want to do it your way, okay. Because he's going to need that when he leaves. He's going to need to know himself.
Sure, yeah, 100%. I really totally agree. Because, I feel like I'm that old man again, but it's like, you blink your eyes and
Yes.
and it goes so quickly.
Yeah.
That's another reason why I made changes in my life, because at one point I was working
Yeah.
so much, you're missing everything. And
Oh my
listen,
God.
money can only buy you so many things.
Yes.
It can't buy you time, and it can't
Yeah.
buy back time. So you can have everything you want, but those pivotal moments of that time you could spend with your wife,
Yeah.
the time that you can spend with your children, the time that I can do this show and talk to you, and listen, the topics we're talking about are nothing that I thought we were going to talk about, but it's these moments,
Yeah.
these conversations, money can't buy this,
Oh my
except
God.
the
Yeah.
$450 retainer I paid for you. But that's a total different story.
Where's that money? No, but you're so right. You're so right. I'm so with you. In 2019, I uh, I was working at the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, which is an amazing place to work, but I was commuting 3 hours a day.
Oh,
And the Seattle traffic now is nuts. It's like it's insane. And I had the same thoughts you did. I was like, hours of my kid's life are going by, and I'm in a car on the highway.
yeah,
Like this isn't right. I mean, especially after having lost my mother,
sure.
I really know when a life ends what that feels like and it's not coming back. And so like you said, I'm like there are hours and moments I'm missing that and I won't get them back. So what am I doing? And so I'm probably one of those people in the bucket of when the pandemic kind of hit and you had to work from home, it felt like a gift.
Yeah,
And then I slowly, and that job ended. And I, like you, I'm like, no, I'm going to be at home. Hence also like the life coaching is like, I not only want to do things that me feel true to me, but I want to create a life that is good, that's with my son and my husband. And, so that I get to live it and
exactly.
feel it, not be dead tired when I get home and spend time in a car and whatever else.
The one thing, because we all have these moments in life as you get older, you start that morbid thing of like you start thinking about death. It starts playing that trick in your
Mm-hmm.
mind. And one thing that came like that I've always thought of is like the idea of eternal life, like, right? So eternal life
Mm-hmm.
to me, or like in living forever, not per se in body but in spirit,
Mm-hmm.
is that you are putting your impressions on your children, who then would impress those emotions on people, and so on and so forth. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I have like my grandfather died when I was 7,
Mm-hmm.
but there's parts of me that come from him, and there's stories I say from him that he spent time with me. He worked a lot. There's not as much time I had with him, but the parts I did, I pass on to my kids, and I want to have those moments
Yeah.
with them that they can pass on, or like relive, or or
Yeah.
do, and that's what's important. That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
You know, everything
Yeah.
like
I tell people um, in sessions with people, especially when people are burnt out on a career or they're lost or things like that. I mean, I really this was told to me when I was kind of in the thick of it, and it felt like a relief and it felt like truth that the only goal for us in a lifetime, a true goal, is to experience joy and contentment,
mm,
with yourself and have the relationships you're talking about. That's it.
mm,
Like that's it. Nothing else. You don't have to do anything else. I mean, you could pay your bills, right? Things like that, but it's not about climbing a ladder or making sure you get famous or selling a bunch of records or adventures are great. I'm not anti-adventure,
sure.
but people put such a load on themselves
Hmm.
and I'm like, no. The only goal, our birthright should be joy,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
And contentment. And I mean, for anybody, it's not happening to everybody, obviously, but again, the people I'm seeing are burnt crispy. They've overloaded. They've been working too hard. They think there's all these, goals that they're supposed to be hitting. And I was like, none of that matters. None of
yeah.
that matters.
Well, it's kind of like this, when do you remember the first expensive stereo you bought? Or is it kind of like an afterthought?
I feel like that's pretty recent. No. What's the most
But it's
I
like,
never had great stereos. You know what I mean? I would, don't joke. Like, I think we bought a Sonos for like, and I was like, oh, wow. Like, oh my God.
but we all
But
had like,
why? You
we had like,
have?
well, no, it's like, well, there's a reasoning for this. Like, we all, like, when we were younger, we always had, like, we saved money to buy something, whether it was a
Sure.
stereo or a TV, and it was so important to
Mhm.
us then.
Right,
But
right.
now we look back and, like, those weren't, like, that big of a deal. Like, we worked really
They're
hard
just
to get
things.
that and do all those
Yeah.
things, and all that time that we wasted to get that item that we no longer have.
Yeah.
But can you remember a moment of like going out to eat with your mother or my son or
Hmm.
something like that from 20, 30 years ago that might have been as silly as just you sat down at a table and she laughed and milk came out her nose or something like that? Something
Hmm.
silly that
Yeah.
was just in the moment. What is more valuable now? Was it that
Right.
time that you spent getting that item that is irrelevant to you now, or was it that moment then that you could have missed potentially if you were working? So that's what the true value to me is as
Yeah.
I grew older.
Well, think about it. Those moments still give you payoff for the rest
Yeah,
of your life. You're feeling
100%.
bad, you think about that moment.
Mm-hmm.
You had that exchange. I mean, you'll feel it in your body. It cheers you up on the day. Like, and it's a rich thing, a treasure to have,
Yeah,
that kind of relation like that or a good time. Um, you have that forever.
sure.
A stereo will burn out and break.
That's right.
Anything. Those are just things.
That's right.
Um, and we have a lot of things. We live in a culture of like
If you could see
acquiring
my
and having a lot of
house,
things. I know, right? Well, believe me, like I'm laughing right now. You'll probably laugh, but I think addictively during the pandemic comforted myself with shoes,
you know,
as ladies will, or some ladies. This lady,
well, funny thing. Probably, I think I've purchased like four shoes in the last couple weeks. I am on this
yeah.
like Vans kick where I'm like, oh, I need every
Ooh.
color Vans to match every T-shirt I own. So I have spent more money on. I got like today. I found out I didn't even realize this because I work in my business. I do structured cabling, low voltage, data infrastructure. So I have to work with
Uh-huh.
like steel toe boots. But I hate like that's just not me.
Yeah.
So then I found out Vans made steel toe work boots, like, but they look like Vans
What?
shoes. I said, gotta have them. Buy
I didn't
now.
know that.
I
I
found it
literally
out today.
have my slip-on checks that are in green. Slip
Ooh,
Vans right over here. I wish I had them closer. I would show them
I
to you,
am.
but
Listen, I am literally wearing pajamas. I am.
isn't that the best thing about?
Well, yeah, listen, I,
Yeah.
I got so my son had soccer practice. I came home. Me and my son were working on this campaign that launches on Friday, and
Uh-huh.
then I said, you know what? I said, I look the part. I said, I'm not going to change. I said, I feel comfortable.
Yeah.
No one knows I'm wearing sweatpants. It's all good.
Totally.
Now you do.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. But I
There's
will.
so many there's so many letting go of things. I think it's been a good thing, I think, during the like caring about some things like you said,
Sure.
like what you're wearing. What does that matter? Who cares?
Yeah, who cares? And then
It's
it's
your
like,
content, who
but
you are.
it's slowed so many people down too. Like,
Oh my
there's
God,
a
yeah.
lot of negative came from it, but I believe there's going to be a lot of good that come on the other side. I believe that
Yeah.
there's going to be a lot more slowing down. There's going to be a lot more speeding
Hmm.
up. There's going to be a lot of things in general. But yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it was interesting to see like who I spoke to more often after during the pandemic,
Hmm.
who I kept up with, what was
Yeah.
important to me. I mean, just a ton of different things. It's very
Hmm.
interesting to me to see how, yeah, just how everything's just so different. Just, I don't
It's
know.
it is a moment of course it is sad with people having people pass away. Like
Sure.
that's yes. But it's also an opportunity moment. Like like you're saying, it is forcing it's providing you the opportunity to reevaluate and decide like, oh, that doesn't matter anymore to me. Like
Mm,
getting on I think about the time getting ready for work. I was like, who cares what I'm doing the work? Who cares what I look like? Or commuting or all those things. I think that's a gift of this moment is if people take the mantle up and say, well, I have an opportunity given all parts of this situation to reevaluate and say, what's
Mhm.
working for me? What do I not like anymore? What would I like to change? And it's changing so many things, not just people, the pandemic, the illness, right? I mean, companies are functioning different. Like it's
Sure.
changing so many things. I think for the good as well. And I think people confuse, or they don't confuse, understandably, I guess, like this feels like and looks like, and maybe even smells like a terrible, chaotic moment. But to me, I'm like, no, that's what change can look like. But like you said, good things are going to come from that. It's providing you an opportunity, um, or experiences, and sometimes hard experiences, but they change you, and they can be good changes, not
We
just permanent devastation.
Sure, we all need that point in our life, and a lot of people never get this. Like we're getting a reset, like that button that says,
Yes.
"Hey, you
Hmm.
can do whatever you want now."
Yeah.
You there's been a lot of opportunities where, depending on how strong-willed you are, you could potentially change your entire life from this.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people lost their jobs, and I know four people that lost their jobs,
Yeah.
that went to work, came home, and never went back because they let
Yeah.
go. Four people started their own businesses. I know
Hmm.
all four of them make more money than they did before. I know
Right. Yeah.
all four people are much happier than they were before, but they would have never known that had this
Right.
hadn't happened. Now listen, once again, a lot of
Right.
negatives come from the pandemic. I know a lot of people have lost a lot of
Right.
lives, and this whole Texas thing's driving me freaking crazy, but whatever. And there's a lot of great companies that are closing, like Alamo Draft House
Hmm.
today, file on Chapter 11, all these
Yeah.
different things. But in the darkest moments, there's always light. And I don't think
Hmm.
we've seen the light yet.
Yeah.
I don't know when it's going to come. I
Yeah.
mean, listen, I will say it is much quieter on social media since in the middle of January when all things changed. Social media
Yeah.
has been a lot quieter, which I've
Yeah.
enjoyed tremendously.
Yep.
Um, so, but it is crazy in its own sense. Now,
Yeah.
before we finish up, because
Hmm.
I was not expecting to have this hour and a half long conversation with you that really revolved around the most craziest of topics, but sprinkled in is a lot of your career talks. But the greatest thing about this is, and Carrie, I know that we've invited
Hmm.
you on to come to a Rob and Anthony's World Tour, which I'm
Yeah.
excited about.
I can't
And
wait.
then in a couple of months we'll have to have you come back on because
I would love that.
we barely touched your career, but we just
I know.
rambled on. But this is what happens. This is
Yeah.
also the scary
I love it.
side of not over preparing for a conversation.
I
This is
love it. Yeah. I mean, I totally agree with you. I mean, conversation needs to go where it needs to go. I call me whenever you want to talk about music again. I'll be there for it, right?
mm, mm.
People can go listen to music in the meantime or listen to my music and then we'll come back and they'll know a little bit more while we talk about it.
That's right. Now you have a podcast as well.
Yeah.
Why don't you tell me a little bit about that podcast, what we could
Hmm.
expect to hear from it, and where we can
Hmm.
find it?
It's called Between You and I, and it's on iTunes and Spotify, all the places. We also have a website called the Between Podcast.
Okay.
.com, and it started off kind of like what you like to do. It started off just being me and my cohort Ryan Lane, and we met when we were working at like a tech agency, and he's been in the tech industry forever. Super sweet soul, and I think I was looking for new things creatively to do, and I was like, "What if we did a podcast?" Like, I felt like right away he'd be a perfect foil to me. He's very um, gentle and quiet or whatever, and I tend to talk my head off. Um, so we started this podcast, and initially I swear we did like one podcast a year, like just really we're like, oh, let's just dip our toe in that. But it's conversations with people, and the initial conversations are they're just with people I feel like talking to. A lot of them are musicians, but I'm starting to pull in people with other subject matter too. Um, you know, that on topics that I just think are important to talk about, like, addiction or sobriety or trauma or coaching or, what have you, because I feel like that's a good conversation and good information for people. And I don't script either. And we just get on there and see where the conversation takes us. So I find this a pleasure. So yeah, if people want to come check it out, there's the Friel brothers are on there, Kim Virant, Ken Stringfellow's on there, Roderick from Sky Cries Mary, John Roderick from the Long Winters.
Wow.
Yeah, there's just, and Mike's going to be on it at some point. So I'm talking with
Ooh.
his group to figure out when that would be. And we're all, the Rockfords are all kind of texting each other right now, talking about writing a song. And so I had asked Mike, I was like, hey, do you want to be on my podcast?
just like, hey, how's the family doing? Merry Christmas. Can you come on my show?
I don't know. Yeah, because I mean, he's so right. We're in a band together. It's sort of like he's a very sweet person, and so because I want to talk to him about his creativity. I find him, what I really like about Mike is he's a seeker of new things as well, and he's very open to doing different things creatively, and it's one of my things I really love about him. So I want to talk about that.
Well,
but yeah,
the interesting thing about Mike is, growing up and being, heavily a massive Pearl Jam fan, it was always about Eddie Vedder. And the further I got into and the older I got, it is very much like I am more I appreciate more. How the hell am I going to say this? I can't, like, once again, fourth grade English here. I appreciate Mike more because I really believe that that people are gonna look back at this time and they're gonna look at it and be like, what he was able to accomplish as a human being with his music, his philanthropy, and everything else he did that he never boasted about. He's one of those people he's not a boaster. He doesn't.
Right.
He's not one of those people that wants to brag about. A lot of things he does, like Flight to Mars and stuff, is on a low key scale, but it still raises a ton of money for the proper organizations. He is somebody. He is very much something that I think is underappreciated, and I think and I still say, when you look at guitarists nowadays and what they're able to do, I still think he is probably one of, if not the best, that is alive right now and touring. One of the top three, probably greatest guitarists touring right now, and probably one of the top 10 greatest American guitarists of all time.
Well, and I mean, if you look at Mike, you want to talk about an intuitive that comes out of him.
Sure.
Right. I know as you've watched him play, like, it's almost like, oh, Mike's left the room. Like something's coming out of him mystically. Like, it's an extension of his person, like his soul, even. And I love that he is good at letting go and letting that happen. Right. I mean, that's a lot of how I feel like a part of who he is.
When his head goes back and that guitar solo is about to happen, he's gonna let it rip.
I know, right?
It is just, he is just spewing energy. It's just like, you're like, oh shit,
like a trance.
Back. Oh, it really is. It is. Now I see why he works so well with you, with the energy spewed from you and Mike.
Yeah. Oh, Mike was always Mike was I was really flattered when the Rockfords got together. It was really him and Danny and Chris and Rick, because they'd been in Shadow together. Like, let's do a project. And they had asked me to come sing on one song, and then it was like, oh, now sing on another song. Oh, now sing on whatever. And I remember one day Mike pulled me aside and he was like, I really just wanted to do a project with you. And he is a deep lover of singers, of voice. And we would be in practice and I would just look over and he'd just be staring. You know what I mean? Like, because I think he spiritually, like, connects to music that way. Like, he would like, what are you looking at? He's like, I'm just watching you sing, kind of thing. Because that's how he feels things, I think. And I just thought that was amazing. I really love that about him.
No,
and it made me feel like connective too. Like, oh, you see something in me that feels magnanimous, right? Like, and it makes you feel good as an artist. Yeah.
Well, Carrie, I believe we have said a lot.
We have said so many things.
So many things. We have spewed shit everywhere.
I know.
But
hey, I was gonna tell people, if they want to, I have a private Facebook page called Carrie Akre Creative, and that's like kind of all the coaching stuff and fun. And there's little private concerts I do sometimes in there. So if they would like to come join that, I would love to have them there.
Well, I would highly recommend that. We will post a link with this. If you're listening on one of the podcast platforms, that will be attached to the description below. So, listen, Carrie, once again, I can't thank you enough for coming on. This has been, listen, especially when it's a guest I don't know
Mhm.
personally or haven't had a conversation before, it's always like, well, what is this going to bring? Um, and this was an absolute delight. It was a pleasure speaking with you. I look forward to speaking with you further in the future.
Me too. Yeah, thank you so much. I love talking to you. I can't wait to do um, all the things we were talking about. I can't wait to be on the other show and then come back.
That's right.
We're
That's right.
friends now, okay? We're just
Done.
friends now.
Done. I will add you on the friends list. I moved you over.
Check.
Okay. I will. I'll put you. I'll have to get a bobblehead. I'll put one of the Carrie bobbleheads on the
Sweet.
desktop.
Oh, I would love that.
Well, listen, if you're listening in right now live or you're watching us tomorrow morning or however you're watching us or listening, just remember that you can find this show as an audio-only version of the show on iTunes, Spotify, Pandora, Geeker. It's on everywhere. And then starting April 1st, this show and all the shows on A Touring Fan Live will be now on SiriusXM's platform on the app. So if you go onto the app and you can look up A Touring Fan Live, all these shows, including this one, will be on there for you to listen to starting April 1st. So definitely check that out. Coming up this Friday, I am so excited to announce we'll be talking to Jason Hill. Jason Hill was the lead singer of Louis XIV, or still is, as the band is coming back together. He's worked with the Killers, and he's also worked with David Bowie. I have a lot of questions for this man, so definitely tune in on Friday at 9 p.m. And then also, the first time ever at 10 p.m., I will be co-hosting a Clubhouse room. I don't know much about Clubhouse, but if you have the Clubhouse app, check it out, where we're going to be talking about Pearl Jam moments and why you follow the band. So check all that out. And we have a website now, so if you go to www.thetouringfanlive.com, you can find out all of our upcoming shows coming up and everything we got going on and learn more about this show and every other show, so check that out. And once again, thank you, Carrie, for coming on. I appreciate everything. And until next time, I'm Anthony, and that is Carrie. Let me see if I can point correctly. You have tuned
Are you-
in to the Touring Fan Live.